When I first started making these videos, it was basically just to keep people informed so I don't have to keep making calls or texts to 70, 80 people and keep going through it over and over again. But now, after I've spent a lot of time searching the internet for some male voices around my age or even younger, uh, I'm just not seeing it. I'm not, and I understand why. So from here on out, I'm going to do my best to try and make these informative for the people that know me, but also for if somebody else is going through this, I hope that, I don't know, maybe you can find something in this that helps you. In October, I was diagnosed with rectal cancer. I went to get a PET scan. The PET scan showed that the cancer was contained in the same area. It hadn't spread anywhere, so that was really good news. And I had to wait to go get an MRI, and this is where the new news comes from. The MRI found a small spot that the PET scan missed, and it's concerning to the doctor. So now I have to go get a biopsy, and that's in about, I don't know, 2.5, 3 weeks. December 2nd is when I go for that. And that's going to affect my treatment a bit, possibly. Depends. If it's not cancerous, then I stick to the original plan. 6 weeks, 5 days a week, chemo, radiation, and then as long as that kills all the cancer cells, I'll get a surgery and they'll remove that part of my rectum and get rid of all that. During that time, I will hopefully temporarily have a colostomy bag, and then hopefully they can reconnect me afterwards. So if it's cancerous, and that changes things. So that will put me into the 3 to 6 months worth of chemo, and a much more toxic chemo. So hoping that this turns out good and it's not cancerous. I don't know how this is going to affect the surgeon, because I still haven't talked to a surgeon yet. I guess that's a little bit further down the road. But in the meantime, I just have to hope that things pan out to where I don't have to do this longer and with a more poisonous chemo. So, and excuse me if I pause here every once in a while. I'm trying to do this without editing. The videos I did before, I was editing out all the sobbing and everything, but through the power of Xanax, I think I can get through this without breaking down. So we got the MRI done. We figured out all this stuff. You know, when you first go get diagnosed, the doctors will tell you don't go online, don't start looking up things and everything. And you know, at first I thought they were talking about, you know, don't go on there and look at all these natural cures and all. There's a lot of stuff out there people are shilling for, and it's a lot of confusing stuff. I figured out they don't want you to look to see what this is going to do to you. And me being the person that I am, I gotta know. To be honest, I went in for a radiation consultation with my doctor, and I didn't know they were gonna prep me that day. And I had no clue that they were gonna put little tattoos on me. They line you up in this machine, and it puts like a laser thing on your body, and they'll put a mold around your legs. So basically you get tattooed, and then they put this mold on you to make sure that you're lined up exactly the same every single time you go in for the radiation, and it's just to be in a certain spot. So I was surprised by that. So I'm like, man, I don't want any more surprises. So I went online and I started looking at, you know, what's gonna happen with these treatments. And so the surprising thing for me was I thought the biggest hurdle that I had to cross was the fact that it was going to have a colostomy bag, and then there's the possibility that it could be permanent, and that was a really tough pill for me to swallow. But you know, I think I could handle it. You know, whatever. It's an emotional thing. I come to find out the damage that these treatments and the surgery are going to do to me will have some lifetime effects. You know, lifelong effects on me that will change me drastically. So, and I think that's what they don't want you to really ponder too much. They just because they want you to be positive. Positivity is going to be important in your recovery and everything. And to be honest, I understand that now because I spent the past 2 weeks really emotional. The range of emotions that you go through during this is crazy. 1 minute you're super depressed, you'll find yourself very angry. Why me, that whole thing. Sad, and then guilt. You'll find yourself feeling guilty, or else I did anyway. And when I say yourself, this is what I'm going through. You're sitting there, why me? And then you get the guilt because you start thinking about all those other people that have far worse diagnosis going on, and you feel guilty for worrying so much about what I'm about to talk about. But there's a reason why no men anyway, not many men are talking about this, is because it's humiliating. It's degrading as a man in a way for this to happen. So the radiation and the chemo a bit too, and the surgery, all will it'll damage the nerves and the muscles in that area, and what that leaves you with. So if I do get reconnected and I don't have to have the colostomy bag anymore, all the terminology I've seen uses the quote, more than likely I will have problems with incontinence for years to come. And it seems like a pretty good more than likely from the studies that I'm looking at. The other thing is severe sexual dysfunction. And that is a tough pill to swallow at 50 years old. And there's more and more, there's people even younger than me that are getting these diagnoses. And, this is something I think that should be talked about more. It's definitely not something that the doctors have brought up. And I don't know if it's because they're not equipped to, or want to talk about it because it's such an emotional thing, or if it's because they just want you to stay positive or whatever. But, the thought of never having sex again, or, there's treatments and everybody's like, oh, you just get treatments. Take a look at those treatments, folks. Like, if Viagra doesn't work, it involves a lot of needles, like in areas that you don't want needles. It's a tough pill to swallow, and thinking about living the rest of my life either with a bag or possibly incontinent and then impotent is just it's overwhelming. I'll be honest with you. Right now I'm actually surprised I'm staying pretty calm, but I got help with that right now. So yeah, just dealing with that, the thought of having those things for the rest of my life, those problems, is pretty scary. It's an emotional thing and nobody's talking about it. And I get it, man. Men don't want to speak about this, and not to be an ageist, and I apologize for this. It would still be traumatic to me even if I was in my 70s. But I could accept this a lot easier if I was older. You're going to have a decline anyway once you get older. And but I wouldn't mind riding it out as long as possible. If you're not a very active person, or a sexual person, then maybe it won't affect you as much as it has me, knowing about this and dreading what's possibly going to happen. And everywhere I look, it's more than likely this is what's going to happen. I guess it's just a matter of what level you're going to be at with this. So anyways, that's what's going on with me right now. I'm dealing with a lot of emotions, and I'm definitely very scared. I'm going to be honest with you. I have a lot of fear right now of these treatments and how it's going to leave me afterwards. That's yeah, I don't know how this is going to go, to be honest with you. The Xanax got me. I kind of lost track of what I was talking about there. I don't know. This tumor that I have, or I should say the smaller spot that they found in the MRI is relatively close to the original tumor that we saw and I got my diagnosis from. I don't know how this is going to affect the surgery. This could make it to where I don't have enough rectum left after the surgery to even get reconnected, and that's a stressful thing to think about. And you know, I could go on and on about all the emotions and how this makes me feel and all that, and it's tough, man. And the thing is, I know there's people out there that have it much worse, and you know, there's for the few people that I have discussed this with, and I don't know how anybody else would feel about this. For me, when people get very dismissive about what I'm talking about, I'm telling them my fears and I'm freaking out and everything, and they're like, oh, you know, don't fixate on sex, or it's just, you know, you're fixating on one organ. It's a pretty important organ to me, and that's I'm too young for that, you know. And when people are dismissive of that, it makes me upset. I know everybody's coming from a good place, and they mean well. But when everybody keeps telling me, oh, just stay calm, everything's gonna be fine, it's not gonna be fine. Okay, like when they tell you, hey, you're more than likely gonna be able to beat this cancer, everybody's like, yeah, man, see, you're gonna beat it. But when they tell you, hey, you're more than likely going to have sexual dysfunction and incontinence, like, oh, you can beat the odds. And it's funny how that switches around on you depending on how you want the outcome to be. So for me, I don't know. I'm not in the space right in my mind right now to hear people be dismissive about this. This is I know there's people out there that have it worse. I do. I know there are people out there that they get a terminal diagnosis, or I know people out there that lost limbs, or you know, or sexual organs. You can get this anywhere in your body, and things can be way worse, is what I'm trying to say here. And that's where the guilt comes in. You know, you sit here and you worry about sex and having, you know, messing yourself or having to wear a diaper or a bag or whatever, and then you feel guilty for that because there's people that would probably trade with you, you know, and that's tough. So I honestly right now I don't know what else to say about this, and I wish it would make me feel a lot better if I could find some male voices out there talking about what they're going through or what they went through, whatever. And I don't know why it would make me feel better, but I just feel like nobody's talking about it, and I understand why. This is embarrassing. It's tough to talk about. So I am going to be brutal honest about everything that happens from here forward. If you're watching this and you don't know me personally, and there is anything that you want to discuss, ask, whatever, leave a comment, and I will do my very best to get back to anybody that has any questions, if this is something you feel like you want to talk about. And I will be brutal honest from here on out in every video that I make about the process that I'm going through, the emotions I'm feeling, what these treatments do to me, etc., etc. And then this way I can keep everybody informed without making a million phone calls or texts. And I don't know, man, maybe I can help somebody else get through this. I'm hoping I can get through it. I'm having a tough time seeing a light at the end of the tunnel for this, because this is going to affect me in a lot of ways. Like, it's going to change my life, how I do extracurricular activities like hunting, fishing, going camping, and all that. It's going to change things quite a bit, because I'll go out on 2-week-long excursions, and I don't know how this is going to work out for that. I don't know how this is going to affect my personal life. I love my wife. I have a beautiful wife, and if it wasn't for her, I would have already gave up by now. She's holding me up. She's holding up everything. And the last thing I want is for my relationship with her to suffer in any way. And I don't know. I think the Xanax is starting to get to me, man. I'm fading out on what to say here. So if you have any questions, leave me a comment. I'll get back to you. And from here on out, I'll make sure that I try to tell you everything that happens, and maybe you'll know what to expect. And hopefully at the end of this, you're going to see a video of me, figuring it all out, and everything works out. So thank you for watching. Thank you, everybody, for all your support. And I will probably, the next time I make a video will be after I go to radiation on this Tuesday. I'll talk to you soon. Love you all. Bye.